In this simulation video, we'll be going over the process to install the 3.5-inch or 89mm single beam to post bracket. Before we get started, here's a list of the recommended tools and safety equipment you'll want to have on hand when working with our Evolution steel framing product. This simulation will utilize a raised drop beam deck build to clearly demonstrate the process of how the connection should be made to the post prior to the post being raised and mounted. Let's begin directly after the point that post-to-pier mounts were installed on the concrete piers. If the post is set in concrete directly, then this connection process should take place before the post goes into the hole. The only difference would be how the post is mounted, which would not affect how this post-to-beam bracket is attached to the post. So, to begin the connection process and for ease of workability, start by placing the cut-to-length post on a raised surface, such as wood blocks or another material that's on-site. Next, set both pieces of the single beam to post bracket nearby. Note that the bracket consists of a two-piece assembly. There is a post cover clamshell piece and a flush mount clamshell piece. The orientation of these will be important, but only when the post is going to be raised and mounted. For now, take the post cover clamshell and slide it onto the post. Slide it all the way down until it is fully resting against the post. Then attach the clamshell to the post using 7 Evolution self-tapping screws on the top and sides of the assembly. Afterwards, roll or flip the assembly over as shown on the blocks. Then, push the post and bracket back so that the bottom edge of the clamshell butts up against the wooden block. This will act as a stopping point for the flush mount clamshell, keeping the brackets evenly mounted. With the second clamshell held in position, take 7 more Evolution self-tapping screws and attach the bracket on the top and side. Then rotate the assembly and fill the last 2 holes on the side of the clamshell. The bracket is now fully attached to the post and ready to be mounted to the pier. With some assistance, raise the post assembly. Before placing it into the post-to-pier mount or hole, be sure to orient the post with the flush mount clamshell facing the outside. Then seat the post into the mount, setting it on the standoff inside the mount. While holding the post assembly in place, secure the post in the mount with 8 Evolution self-tapping screws, filling the 2 marks on each side of the mount. Repeat the clamshell connection and mounting process for the next post and prep for any other post connections that will need to be made for the deck build. In order to complete the post-to-beam connection process, more than a single post will need to be raised and mounted. The amount of posts needed to support a given beam or deck span are something that should be determined and verified using one of the span charts available online before starting a build. Know that all posts must be temporarily braced until fully stabilized and permanently connected with framing or other structural members. For deck frames, this means that all beams, joists, hangers, and any blocking that shores up the structure should be in place before the bracing can be removed. In short, the deck frame should be fully assembled and secured first before bracing is removed from the assembly. This example has 2 posts with brackets prepped to receive and support a segment of the deck with the beam shown. Different builds can require more posts under a beam to support a different load or span. Let's continue now by placing the beam into the brackets. Keeping in mind the maximum allowed beam overhang and that we need to keep the weep holes on the beam facing downwards. It's recommended to use assistants or clamps to help hold the beam tightly in place during the attachment process. After any clamps have been installed, begin filling in the top sections of brackets on each side of the beam using 14 of the Evolution self-tapping screws. Then release and remove the clamps, and fill in any remaining holes on either side of the beam that were covered up by the clamp. This process can be repeated on the other end of the beam or any time a build requires a 3.5-inch or 89mm beam-to-post bracket connection. For more information on our steel deck framing products, including where to buy, stop by our website at fortressbp.com/framing. And don't forget to check out our other Evolution steel framing videos as we continue to help our customers steal the show.